We'll have this recording available so that other people that aren't able to be on the call will be able to see and hear what we've talked about today. So pleased to have all of you on this call. We're going to make it short. What we're trying to accomplish here is to just home in on some of these technical things that we sort of opened the whole the whole can of worms up in our last call, and it was just too much. So we're narrowing it down, and I have experts on the call. That makes me so excited. So when we talk about smart devices and these applications, or as we call them, apps, that are available for not just cell phones, smartphones, tablets. I mean, the lines are blurring between these devices. But one thing we know is that people and you yourselves like being able to be in touch and to receive information anywhere at any time. And that often means on a phone. So that's why the apps on a
Right.
phone are becoming more and more important, both to you and I think to clients. Anyone want to make a general comment about that?
Can't live without it.
There you go. Can't live without it. And it's not just young people anymore. I mean, we used to think, oh, well, that's just the kids, playing with their phones. No, not anymore. The fastest growing and way more than half in our country of the boomer and even older group are using smartphones or getting their information on smartphones. So it's becoming sort of the standard where it was the new woo a little while ago. So, what we're going to home in on today are just the very narrow, not the thousands of mobile travel apps, but those that are what we would call itinerary apps or itinerary consolidation apps. And we're going to look at both those that are provided by a GDS system and those that are non GDS. They do similar things, but I think it's really important for all of us as travel professionals to be aware of what is available and to interact with our clients relative to what they would like and what works best for them. So we're going to talk a little about TripIt. Some of you know TripIt. It's been around a long time. It's not associated with any GDS. We're going to look at a little about and have some help. Thank you, Trish, on CheckMyTrip, and also thank you, Diana, on TripCase. That would be Amadeus and Sabre provided mobile apps. Kind of get an idea of how that works. And then talk a little bit about Google Now. And I was telling Arnab before the call, he'll be so proud of me because I actually know what's going on with that app a little more now. It's not even an app as much as it's just a service offered by Google that's pretty darned interesting and is having impact on all the rest of these. So let's just move right on here. And really, now you're not all muted, but you've muted yourself. So if you want to make a comment, just slow me down and jump right in. First of all, I'm going to go over TripIt because it's been around a long time. It's available to any of our clients. They might be using it, and we might not even know that they're using it particularly. TripIt's available for all devices, whether it's a tablet with Android, whether it's BlackBerry, uh, whether it's Windows, or of course the iPhone or iPad. You can have TripIt on any of those. TripIt is about people putting their plans or sending their plans to TripIt so that all of their itinerary information for a trip, and it could be, all the details of flights and car and restaurant reservations, it could be anything, and it will all go in one place. Does that sound familiar? I mean, that is what some of these other programs will do as well. But TripIt handles this for a client. Anyone use TripIt?
I do.
I do.
This
Who
is
does?
Jean.
Yeah, yeah. So TripIt's been around a while. You've probably used it for a while.
Yeah, we've been using it a couple of years, and I do it a lot with my corporate clients as well.
Okay, so it isn't associated with a GDS, but Jean is saying, yep, we use it. We recommend it. That's where I think it's really important for you to know what these things can do and to be able to make the recommendation so a client can have it instead of just an email from you on their phone. This is going to be a much better option. If we look at, there's a couple of different ways that you can use TripIt, and I don't know, Jean, if you use it or recommend that your clients use it by TripIt actually getting the information directly from Outlook or Gmail or Yahoo Mail, because it can get it automatically. You can see here a view of what the inbox might look like in your email, and TripIt is going to pull the email from Hotwire, the one from Virgin America, and the one from Hertz, and theoretically, anyway, leave alone any personal email or information that you have in there. I don't know how everybody might feel about that in terms of I'm going to turn TripIt loose to grab these things directly and automatically. What do you think?
Carol, are your slides aren't moving? We're still on the first welcome screen.
Wow, I'm showing such great stuff. I am just so not happy to hear that, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go to this view. Can you see this view?
It looks the same on mine.
Is that the case for everyone else? You're not seeing my screen?
Yes. Right.
Wow. I love technology. Okay, let's try it now.
There it is.
There.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
That's just me being stupid. Sorry. So I talked about TripIt, that it's downloadable for any of these devices. Sorry, gang. And that you can send the plans. And I think maybe, Jean, this is what you're doing. Plans
Yes.
at TripIt. You send any itinerary information, and then the client has it on their phone or tablet all in one place. Do you also do that on your phone, Jean, so you have a copy of it?
Yes, it automatically goes to mine.
Great, great. Okay, sorry about not seeing anything. So this is what I was referring to, and you're all going, whatever. The inbox that is shown on this slide, as you can see, there is a way to automatically let TripIt grab the emails that have itinerary information rather than sending it. So now let me ask my question again. What do you think about that level of allowing the tripper to go in and get your information? Anyone?
Getting some feedback, and I'm not hearing all of your question, Carol.
If anyone changed something just then, maybe change it back. The question is, how do you think your clients will feel about using something like TripIt to automatically get their information from their email? That is, you would have to open it up so that TripIt gets the information from Outlook, from Gmail, or from your Yahoo Mail. Any thoughts about that?
Well, I think it's a great idea.
And who is that?
It's Trish.
So you don't think that that anybody would be? See, people sometimes get twitchy about this stuff, but maybe not. I mean, it certainly makes it easier. What do you think, Jean?
My corporates love it because I get done doing their invoice and I can send it to them and they've got it. And just in today's world, everyone's mobile. We're all in a hurry and going in 75 million directions. So it's just
Anything to
there. I
make it
know.
quick? Yep.
Exactly, and you can add more details in because of course TripIt wants you to buy into their TripIt Pro. I've
Yes.
never done that. I'm still on their basic TripIt. I've been on it almost 2 years, and I just if I have to hand put some of my own information in, I do. The trip I was on last week at the Luxury Expo, I could fill in the blanks. Whatever part did not go over, I could put in there myself so that I've got everything. So if I needed my confirmation number, it was right there. I didn't have to worry about opening up a computer or carrying extra pieces of paper, anything like that. So it does make it very easy, and it's just right there at your fingertips.
Yep, it's great to know, Jean, that you use it both for yourself and for your clients because that really gives you both sides of things so that you understand how it works. You mentioned, I don't know if you use it to sync with your calendar, but again, most people on their phones have a calendar there. It can automatically sync. Let's say it's a Google Calendar, as I use. You can have your trip information there if you want it. You can also share your trip information with as many people as you want. You could share it with everybody you know on Facebook if you want, or you could send a couple of emails sharing the information. So it is pretty slick. And because TripIt's been around for quite a while, I think that they really have got a great product. They've worked out a lot of the kinks. And as Jean says, you as a travel professional can use this product. It's not like you have to use the app or product that might be associated with the GDS, although that might be easier, and we're going to find out. Jean mentioned TripIt Pro, and they've really been promoting this lately. Uh, this is one of the things that TripIt Pro is saying it will do. It will keep you apprised of better seat possibilities for your flight. Interesting. Look at all these things that TripIt Pro is saying that they are able to do for you. If you look at some of this, instant alerts about flight delays, seat alerts, tracking your points, getting flight refunds, it sounds like it would be perfect and fabulous. And how much does it cost?
49.
Yeah, $49 a year. Do you feel like you're being replaced for $49 a year? It's pretty important to take a look at what this really does and doesn't do. In looking at some of the reviews, it's not quite as slick as it sounds. It still is technology. It's good, but it's still not a person. It still doesn't know all the things that you folks know. So you're not really being replaced, but it's important to know, I think, what your clients are looking at, what kinds of things are available to them, or at least it looks pretty darn good. And you're going to need to be offering those same kinds of features in some way if your clients are going to be satisfied, and it needs to be on their phone, I think. Comments? Well, let's go to another one and let's hear from somebody else because I certainly am not the expert or even close to on any of these, but particularly one like TripCase that is used by lots of clients, whether they're associated with a travel agent that is using Sabre. It is a Sabre product. It's been around again for a long time. Very competitive with TripIt. So let's ask Diana Deeds to tell us a little about how she uses TripCase and why her clients like it.
Yeah, I use TripCase. The nice thing is when I get an itinerary completed and the ticket issued, I email it to my client. It also comes to my email and my phone. So if there is a gate change, a time change, anything that happens with that itinerary any given day is a message is sent to their phone or their email. And so they're updated. They can be sitting at the airport and the gate changes and it'll come up on their phone that the gate changed.
And just to clarify, Diana, because we have a couple of people on the call that do not use a GDS system, you are sending the email from Sabre, correct?
Correct, yes. Okay. I send it from Sabre, yes.
And you also get a copy yourself so that wherever you are with your phone, you're seeing the same information.
Correct, yep. I get their updates.
And you were saying it was getting to be so much.
Yeah, it wasn't deleting the past trips, so I finally deleted because I had so many in there, but it's working fine now, finally.
And that's one of those things where it would be nice if there were a setting for it to automatically do that, and perhaps there is not. Don't know.
Yeah, I think there is. Tammy, do you know, do yours automatically delete after their trip?
No. I don't have them come on my phone, though. They only show up on my email.
Okay, okay. So yeah, my phone was overloaded, but I think now I've got it set where the past trips go into a different file.
Okay. Because there would be reason that some people might want to keep all of them, but on the other hand, if you're doing a lot of business with this, it could get to be way too much. Any questions for Diana about TripCase and how it works? It does the same kinds of things that TripIt does. I don't know if it does them better. There are those that will say in reviews that they like it better than TripIt.
Yeah, I don't know. They look pretty similar. I'm going to download TripIt today too and see.
I think that's a good idea so that you have a comparison and you can, promote what it is you're using and really understand all the possibilities.
Does
Right.
Amadeus have one like that?
The question was, does Amadeus have one like that?
Yes.
What a nice segue. That is what we're going to talk about next. I just want to make sure if anyone has any questions of Diana or Tammy, who's on the call, Tammy Crawford, because they both use TripCase with clients. Any questions for them on this particular app? Very similar, does the same kinds of things from everything that I can see in reviews, does them very, very well. Again, the clients do not have to be Sabre to use TripCase. So you could use TripCase, you just wouldn't be sending the information from Sabre if you weren't GDS, but clients can use it and not be with an agent who's on Sabre. So let's look at the next one then. CheckMyTrip, which you're familiar with Amadeus on your computer, also has an app. And hopefully we still have Trish on the call, yes?
I'm right here.
I love it. So Trish, on your emails and things, you even say, "Hey, ask me about this great mobile app," which I think is a super idea because I said, "Trish, tell me." I immediately spotted that, and I think clients would too. You don't have lots of clients that use it, do you?
We don't have a lot, but the ones who do use it absolutely love it, and they're all corporate clients.
Okay, so it's that convenience factor, it's that immediacy of updates, all the same kinds of things we've talked about.
Yep, it sure is.
And so with Amadeus, this is something you could recommend to the client. And Trish, just so that I'm clear, you're sending the information to the client via Amadeus?
At the bottom of our emails where we send them an invoice that we received from Amadeus, it has a link that they can go ahead and go out and set up their account online. And once they do that, every time we book a trip for them, it automatically shows up in their account on their smartphone.
All right, all right. So what you're seeing right here is actually, I took it from my phone, no, from my computer probably. The app list, you can see it's provided by Amadeus. It's no cost. This is an app that's compatible with any mobile device. And again, it can be downloaded easily for any of those devices. So it does the same kinds of things. Jean, have you compared it with TripIt? How do you feel about it?
Didn't even know about it.
Well,
I'm
there
just
you
now
go.
I'm trying to put it on my phone, but it won't let me. I
Here's
pulled
one
it up under
thing.
the app search and I hit open, but it keeps wanting to go right to an itinerary. It says view itinerary.
Oh, well,
So
I don't
Trish,
know.
if those don't come from Amadeus, you can go to Check My Trip and type in is it the airline reservation number in your last name like you would go to United and do that?
On Check My Trip,
Yes.
you have to set up your account online first. You actually
Right.
have to go
On the
online
computer?
and create a username and password, yeah. And then when you download the app, it will just ask you for your username and password, and then everything is automatically updated from that point.
Okay. Okay, because this
Gotcha.
screen that I'm showing is just the screen from Google Play or whatever it is for installing the app. But you're saying there
Mhm.
has to be a sign in on a computer first or get your login on a computer first before you use the app.
That that is what we have found so far, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. So, if you're going to offer this to clients and tell them about it, giving them the easy, here's what you do, or even setting them up I don't know if you can set them up and give them their login. I don't know.
We have been known to do that. So yes, you can do
Yeah.
that for them. You
Well,
just have to give their username and password.
that seems like a really good idea. We've all talked about how everybody wants it simple. They want it slick. They don't want to have any extra steps. So I think if they're able to just do the download of the app and you've given them the login, that's probably a really good idea.
It works out well. We like this application quite a bit.
So, any other questions for Trish? I mean, we don't want this to be lengthy and drawn out, but it seems like you have some options here, but ought to be aware of what you can offer clients because they are going to like some of them, not every one of them, but many of them are going to like having all this information right there on their phone.
Agreed.
Help
Yes.
me with this one. When I travel, I have not been using TripIt, although I do have it, but I've been using, for instance, Delta's app so that I get my boarding pass on my phone and all that kind of stuff. So how does that work? I mean, these are itinerary apps. Would you still see clients wanting to have their mobile boarding pass and use an airline app as well?
Yeah, it's totally separate.
Okay.
And not all airlines offer the scan off your smartphone.
Right. But I
That's
guess,
true. And also
go
on
ahead.
my trips, you can also check in from my trips.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So really the only thing would be the scannable boarding pass, which, may or may not be important to somebody. There's another of these applications that I was totally unfamiliar with. Is anyone else familiar with one called WorldMate?
No.
WorldMate seems to be something that is more international in its orientation. So I don't know that it's been promoted a lot in the U.S. I really know very little about it, but I wanted to bring it up because I saw it being compared in a couple of articles, and I thought, gee, I wonder, if this is something someone else is using or knows about. Anybody?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it
No, I
seems
haven't either.
seems to do the same kinds of stuff. I don't know why it would have any advantages, but I suppose it's good to just know that there is such a thing called WorldMate, and that would give you the option of saying, "Oh yes, yes, I know there is WorldMate. Here's what we recommend." Because I do believe that we're in a place now where having the discussion with clients, recommending apps that they can use on their phone is important. I don't see that we can get around doing that. Anyone else? Any comments?
I think the corporate travelers really like having something they can put on their smartphones. I've got a few that really, really do not like anything on their smartphones, but
Okay.
the majority of our clients actually like them.
And so it's really just a matter of finding out what your client prefers, and maybe it's all business clients that are going to really want to do this. Others maybe aren't traveling enough that it matters. I don't know. Well, let me ask you about this one. This is just a scary new thing that I've been doing because you know I love my Google stuff. And I'm going to ask Arnab to jump in here if he's still on the call because I know that he's very familiar with this. It's not the same thing that we've been talking about in terms of an app. It's actually a service that Google offers if you choose to have this service. But Google is challenging certainly these itinerary apps with this kind of service. So when it says here, see helpful cards with information you need through your day, that doesn't even make any sense to anyone that hasn't
No, it doesn't.
used this. So Arnhem, can you explain a little about what that means? Because I know you have
Sure,
used this.
sure.
Thanks, Carol, for first of all covering so many of the apps. I mean, it's a great effort on your part and even the other participants.
I
I've
can't
used
hear him.
TripIt and
We
some of
need
the
your
other.
we need your sound up a little, Arnab. We're not hearing you.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, Carol, thanks for covering all the apps and all the participants as well. I think it's a great effort on everyone's part. Uh, I've used TripIt also, and not the other apps, but Google now is I would think it's a very low effort service, that they're providing, low effort for the user in the sense that it automatically scans through your emails, similar to what TripIt would do if you allowed it to access your Gmail accounts, and then relates it with a lot of other information that it already has, like weather and airline information, and provides these cards. So, for example, in my case, how I found out about it, my wife told me that my mother-in-law was coming and to visit us, and I had no idea beforehand. And suddenly I saw this email, and she had sent me an email on my Gmail account, and I woke up in the morning and a card popped up saying that your mother-in-law is arriving at the airport on this flight.
That's funny.
And so
You're like,
that's how I,
what?
yeah, that's how I became aware of it. And one of the interesting things is, when she was coming from abroad on a long one of those trans-Pacific flights, it would actually update frequently. Whenever I checked, it would give me more recent updates showing the aircraft. It has traveled 5 hours already. It's 10 hours into the flight. It's 14 hours into the flight. So it would show me all those items plus connection gates and details like that. So there's a lot of information, and then of course it goes. The inherent advantage of somebody like Google is, the way I look at it, is that instead of focusing on a solo traveler, they of course have a lot of other information that they can access regarding other travelers and reviews and groups and things like that. That potentially, I don't think they have those services in right now, but I know they're working on it. That will come in the future where
Yeah.
you could get group consensus on something. And I know as a traveler that can be very, very useful sometimes on a good restaurant. Hey, I'm at this airport. It knows, it can automatically pop up a card saying that, by the way, did you know that your fellow travelers have rated this restaurant at the terminal very highly?
Exactly.
Things like that.
Yeah, it's a
Things like that.
whole different approach, really. And it's not just about travel. It's about everything. So on my phone, anything that I search frequently, Google figures I want to know about it. So it might pop up every single day if I let it, with traffic information on the route that I take to work. Well, it's only to my bedroom. We know that. So that's not a real one. But it will give me weather. It will give me the schedule for a football team I like. I mean, those will pop up because I have searched for that. So, scary as it may seem in some ways, Google really is using the information from my search and from my Gmail to give me information before I even ask for it. Now, that's where I say it might be a little too scary for some, but it's pretty darned interesting. So that kind of application is quite different than what we're talking about. And I think for most people, we're at the stage of, yeah, the itinerary consolidation, particularly for the business traveler, that's a great thing to recommend. I just think we need to keep our eyes open to what some of these other amazing possibilities are, particularly with a company like Google getting into the travel arena. We're just not sure what they're going to do. So, any comment on that? Anyone else use that?
Hey, Carol, I'd like to add something else.
Sure.
The top topic today is travel apps. And this could help some, not the corporate clients maybe, but some other travelers that the team works with. Is I often find more simpler apps to be more useful for me. And like, if, for example, if I'm traveling on a trip to, Thailand, somewhere remotely, some of the ferry bookings that I've done offhand, the TripIt won't be able to cover it. I mean, they don't have the capabilities to really, because the emails are not in the right format for a lot of these services, mechanized services to
Uh-huh.
access. And also Wi-Fi can be really, really sketchy, and I definitely don't want to use 3G service or 4G service when I'm traveling in one of those remote
Right?
areas. So you need offline access. So I often save a lot of my information into things like Evernote, for example, where you can take all kinds of notes, or even a Google Doc, even a Google Mail. You could use Microsoft services like a SkyDrive. I mean, everyone has those
Right.
services.
Right.
And what I do usually is I'll have all my itineraries in there, and then I can access offline, as well as other information. Like I'll take snapshots, like a screen view of a map, and put it in there. How to go to the ferry terminal from the bus stop, stuff like
Right,
that.
right. That's
Other
a great
reviews.
idea. That's a great idea. In fact, a great one to recommend to clients, even if they're not in a foreign land where the Wi-Fi is iffy, but if they're on a cruise ship, where good luck. I mean, it's still not very good or very costly if you do use it. So that's a great idea to just suggest certain information that you put it so that Evernote or however you want to keep that information that you're able to have it offline on your phone. I think that's terrific.
And if I may add, Carol, I mean, I know I'm taking too much time. I'll be really quick. The other benefit is a lot of travelers are not just traveling, they're also recording information about their travels. I mean, they're taking notes, they might blog later, they might be taking photographs they want to add to either Facebook or any
Yes.
other tool. All these services allow you to write notes as you're traveling offline and add pictures to it. So as you're traveling, you're actually creating your own travelogue that you might want to share later. Which is I think a very important part of travel. A lot of people forget sometimes in the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, that's great. And I know it's something that you really feel strongly about is people creating their own stories and then being able to share those with others. Great part of travel for sure.
I think that's
I
a whole segment, Carol. We could do that.
and I was just going to say that's why I went to this new slide because I really do think that
I like that.
um, we can continue with some of these travel apps and the things that are available, but we have to keep it a very narrow focus because there's just too much out there. And so Arnab has talked about something that just seems like, wow, wouldn't that be interesting and fun? And maybe we want to know a little more about that sort of application.
Hmm.
There's thousands and thousands. So narrowing it down to a couple of things that we might suggest to clients that even if they don't use it, they might still say, wow, that is really such a cool idea. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So anyone else have suggestions about what you would like to see us doing in the future? Today has been hugely valuable for me in learning how these apps are actually being used and then how TripIt might be one that is used even in addition to or instead of something that's available through the GDS because it works just great also. But in the future, do you have some ideas, things you'd like to see? Do we want to just have Arnab do our next session? Come on.
Yay! I'm all for that.
I vote for that too. He doesn't have time, but other than that, you guys don't have time either. Send me an email, please. Let me know if something comes to mind where, or if that particular topic of doing something to help clients use their phones to create something as they travel. I think that would be really a great topic, and we can do that. But just let me know what you think would be a good idea, and we'll definitely look at that for October. We have usually had these sessions the third Thursday in the month, and that's what I'm aiming at for October. So I'll let you know details. And thank you again, everyone, for all of the contributions. Really, really helpful, and I appreciate it. Any
Thanks,
questions
Carol.
before we sign out
Thanks,
today?
Carol.
I think we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Bye now.
Thanks, Carol.